welcome. Welcome to my first podcast. Man, this is crazy. I've been talking about doing this for a while. Told a few friends, been planning this for many months, and to be sitting here seeing it running, it's kind of surreal. Well, this is my podcast. For right now, the purpose of it is to allow myself a space where I can be honest, be transparent, be vulnerable, in the hopes that maybe there's some people out there that could hear this and really benefit from what I have to say and what my friends and other guests would have to say. I'd imagine that's why anyone really starts a podcast, is to talk. So here I am talking. My intention is to make it very unscripted, so natural, raw, as I am. I've already had probably 6 or 7 instances since I've hit record, since you've been watching, that I'm like, oh, I'll cut that, or, hey, boy, that's awkward. But that's the challenge I'm challenging myself with this podcast, is to, I said it already. So I have a few guests in mind already for the first 5 episodes. Every once in a while, I'll just do like a solo episode like this, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully this is something that you can listen to on the way to work. Maybe I went to high school with some of you. You haven't seen me or heard from me in a while. Maybe you're someone I met through my business. Maybe you're a complete stranger. I don't even know. So hello, welcome. But I'm allowing myself the opportunity to reopen my life, reopen my connections, to just show this vulnerable side, and maybe it opens up. I'm hoping, praying that it floods with opportunities of people reaching out, and I don't know. Well, this is it. Yeah. Man, this is wild. So the purpose of today's video, as you can tell by the title, I'll just hop right into it. And if I feel the need to go back about the podcast, then I certainly just will do that. I watch a lot of podcasts, by the way, for many years. And there's a screen behind both cameras, and it's of me, and I can see myself, just making sure everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off right now, too. And it's surreal to see myself there, because it just looks like podcasts that I've seen. And it's a pretty cool feeling to start my own. So, all right, let's get into it. Enough dilly-dallying. I don't use that word often at all, really. So, for this first episode, I figured I would talk about Squyres Productions. Why? Because 10 years ago was my very first paid gig tonight, on this night. So I figured, what a perfect time to just be vulnerable, be emotional, be transparent, talk about something that's so a part of me I don't even realize that. I don't know. It's just it's a lot. It's my business. I've run it for 10 years now, and I figured I'd use this episode as a chance to talk about the entire 10-year journey, to talk about how I started it, where the passion came from, talk about how things went in the beginning, how things went in the middle, and how things went in the end of the last 10 years. Talk about the struggles, the realness, maybe the stuff that people never even knew, but I'm going public about it. So here I am, as I stand, vulnerable. Judge me if you may. But here it goes. So started a lot longer than 10 years ago. It actually started when I was about 12. I had a passion for photography very early on. I realized that by going through roll after roll after roll of these Costco Kodak, the wind-up cameras, those simple little ones you go get printed at. It's the 90s, right? Early 90s. Little Kodak ones. A disposable camera. There you go. And I would take pictures of my cats, of my grandma's backyard. I grew up in my grandma's house. Long story there, maybe another time. But I grew up in my grandma's house, and she had a very lush garden in the backyard. I always enjoyed watching the sunset sort of shine through the trees in the evening. And it always felt so magical and mysterious. Just the nature of that backyard. Very jungly. My grandma loved plants. She loves plants. Just a beautiful backyard. And that's for sure, I'd imagine that, along with kind of the wildlife that came with the territory of having sort of a really cool jungly backyard, was a lot of nature, a lot of birds, a lot of wildlife. And I used to love capturing it. I used to love just going out there and taking pictures of stuff. I think I was like 9, 10. Anywho, try to do this a little quicker. Not that I need to go fast. She got me a digital camera, which was my first digital camera, because she got tired of me using the disposable rolls at Costco all the time. And I would also, with the disposable cameras, do stop motion stuff, like with my action figures and my toys. Take a picture, move the arm, take a picture, move the arm, take a picture, move the arm, until I can flip book, kind of little movie style thing. I just love taking pictures of stuff. Also, just loved like taking video as well. Actually, I'll touch on that in a bit. Slow down, partner. Yeah, I definitely enjoy taking pictures. So she bought me a digital camera. I have ADHD, if you haven't noticed, and you will notice. Form of it, mild, severe, who knows? But I know it's there. So I may go off on little tangents. I may get super distracted. A mixture of focused, detail-oriented mindset mixed with ADHD can be a blessing and a curse sometimes. But I will do my best to stay on point. I got my notes right over there. Carry on. So I got a digital camera for around, I think it was either Christmas or summertime, or my birthday. Maybe it was my birthday, 12th birthday. And my grandma took us, my brother and I, my older brother, to the Grand Canyon, and I went crazy with taking pictures on my digital camera. I could take as many as I want. I do remember I had a 512 megabyte card. Sheesh. I think that only held like a couple hundred pictures back then. But I mean, the pictures were very low res, low file too. But anyway, took a million pictures and a lot of suns. I still have those pictures. I have every picture I've ever taken for myself, my clients, everything. Stored away, safe, secure. But took a lot of pictures of the Grand Canyon, the sunset, the rapids. We went river rafting. Kind of came out of the canyon in a helicopter, rescue helicopter, because there was a lightning storm and it was like pouring rain and the flood was like really coming through the river when we were doing it, and it was pretty terrifying, but such a great time. I do remember that was probably for sure highlight vacation of my childhood. But I took a million pictures, and that's kind of those sunsets at the Grand Canyon. I remember there's one instance there, and that's the story I've always led with. That's the story I have. Just kind of really loved doing that. So entered high school. In between high school and being 12, I also got a video camera, little mini disc DVDs. That was pretty cool. A lot of home videos there, still have them. A lot of trips up to Oregon, that's where my grandpa was lived. My grandma would take us up there every vacation. And a lot of cool videos I have up there, hunting and fishing and shooting beer cans with a BB gun. A lot of cool childhood memories there. So yeah, I entered high school, took a photography class. After high school, my very first job officially was an electrician, apprentice electrician, whatever you call that, entry level grunt work kind of job. That was my first job. My aunt and uncle lived out in Temecula, and they right out of high school I was kind of just aimless. Definitely 1000% was aimless. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't get accepted to colleges or university. Kind of just was lost, lonely boy. So I kind of I don't know where it happened, but ended up moving to Temecula or Escondido to do a electrician job as my first job. I had a shitty car, 84 Toyota Celica. Loved that car though, still do. And I worked there for I think just a few months. I was only out there for a few months. Couldn't handle it, hated it. All my coworkers or employees, whatever, people I worked with there, they were all like 40 plus, and there was a scrawny 18-year-old digging ditches in 110 degree weather, wearing the wrong clothes and being exhausted because I just was being worked to the bone. Couldn't handle it, couldn't hang. If I had to do it today, I'd be all right. I could do it. But at that point in my life, not a chance. And moved back home. Got a job with the city of Baldwin Park. I was a recreation leader, mainly working at the teen center. Mainly working at the teen center for a couple of years, and around, or like 2 to 3 years. And towards the end, the last 6 months, I was really looking to get a new car, a newer used car. And so I got hooked up with a job at McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's for about 6 to 8 months, strictly to save money to buy a 2004 Toyota Celica. And it was pretty cool. It was not cool. I'm a little distracted because one of my cameras just overheated. Fantastic. I will have to get up and fix that. But we got 2 cameras for a reason. Backup plan. So I had a job at McDonald's as well. And funny enough, this is me being vulnerable, I ended up getting fired from the teen center job. I was coming in late. I kind of wasn't motivated. A couple other reasons. Nothing too crazy, but obviously crazy enough to get fired. It was fine because I was probably 6 months into Squyres Productions. So I remember the last half of the year working at the teen center job, I just was not happy with the hours. I wasn't happy with the pay. Just really wasn't happy with my life in general, I guess. I wasn't for many years after that, I guess. But I was looking up online of ways to make money on the side, and there was photography right there, popped up. And I was like, well, I can take pictures. I'm all right taking pictures. I do okay. So I looked up, some of the higher ways of making money as a photographer, and weddings popped up. So I remember putting it out there saying, hey, I've never done a wedding before. Looking to shoot weddings. I got a camera, I could shoot pictures. I have video experience. I can do video as well. Put that out there. No one really bit for a few months, I think, if I remember right. But I do remember that when I started the business, it was called Cody Squyres Photography. I got the first business card right here on the wall for those that can see it and even remember it. Probably not because it's blurred, but it's right there on the wall, the black one. It's my first card. It was Cody Squyres Photography. It was not Squyres Productions. Very cheesy name, but just to get the ball rolling. That's what I had. And Jenny, her name was Jenny. She worked through the city of Baldwin Park. And side note, I still do jobs for the city of Baldwin Park as a freelancer from time to time, funny enough. So I'm still, acquaintances, and I know a lot of the people there that work there. Good people there. But anywho, she asked me to do her posada. It's like a Christmas party type thing. And it was like 2 blocks away from where I lived in Baldwin Park. I could basically walk there. And it was $50 for like 4 hours or 3 hours. $50 for like 3 or 4 hours. I could not live within my means with that kind of pay today. So that was wild. But I did that job, and from that job, I remember her friend hired me for her daughter or something, and so on and so forth. And it started to grow, and I started posting about it. I had a website, had a social media, and a few months later, I got my first opportunity to shoot a wedding. Actually, it was a year later, on December 14th, 2014. It was my first wedding. The wedding party was huge. It was like 11 and 11. It's like 22 people. Super overwhelming. I do remember Cynthia was her name. She reached out. And she worked with the city of Baldwin Park as well, and that's kind of how I knew her. Just kind of now realizing that a lot of the roots of my business came out of like the recreation job of working for the city of Baldwin Park. So she contacted me and she asked if I could do her wedding, and I remember charging her $500 for photo and video for like 12, 14 hours. And at that time, that's money. That's payday. I'm good with that. I can get behind that. I can get behind $500. So I said, sign me up. I'll capture your wedding. We did an engagement shoot. It's crazy. My first engagement shoot was at El Matador Beach in Malibu. Realizing that's probably one of my favorite spots to this day to take pictures, portraits. But water break. Oof. Yeah, so we did engagement portraits. I thought they came out good. They liked it. Did the wedding. I remember the morning of the wedding, I threw up in a trash can because I was so anxious and so nervous that it was my responsibility to capture someone's precious moment. I remember throwing up. Wasn't crazy, but I just threw up, super nervous, and tied my shoes, put on my belt, tied my shoes, whatever, and I took on the day. And I made it happen. And from that wedding, more weddings came to the point where I was getting business. Business was starting to boom. It started to become something. At that first year mark, it started to become busy. So, like I said, between the posada and the wedding, which is a year, about halfway through that is where I got fired, and I quit McDonald's, and I just kind of had faith and confidence that what I was seeing financially and passionately with my business, that I can do it. So I had a few people, I won't say names, that didn't tell me directly, but they didn't believe in me. They didn't think that I could do it. some people I don't even care about. Some people I barely even knew, but I got a few of it in the first few years. They just kind of just didn't think it was going to really take off. And I have one friend who reminds me of that sometimes. He tells me that, like, do you remember back when you started, the people were kind of just like, he's not going to do it. And, well, here we are 10 years later, and I'm doing all right. I'm going to pause real fast so I can get that other camera rolling one more time. Stand by. Ooh, okay. We're back. So, yeah, the first couple of years was pretty crazy. It started taking off. I was still living at my grandma's house. I was 21, 22, and I felt like I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't take any business classes. I didn't take any marketing classes. I didn't take any of that. So I just kind of figured it out as I went along. I never intentionally try to use mistakes I made with clients or anything like that as a way to learn, but I kind of just learned by trial and error. And I mean, I did online research. I took a couple photography classes in college. But I figured it out. I just kept persevering and pushing on. However, from the ages of about 20, I would say even 18, but I don't know. My memory's really good, but sometimes not good at those years. But somewhere between 20 and 25, I had severe depression, for sure. I have shared this before on my social media that I've overcome it now, that I'm in a much better place the last few years now. Feels like kind of many years, especially the last 2 years, but I was depressed for sure. And when people ask, well, how do you know you're depressed or blah, 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 I'm like, well, I slept for 14 hours a day. Not every day, but a lot of the days, 14 hours. Something's wrong there. So a lot of sleeping, a lot of missing out on friends' things, because I was a weekend warrior and because a lot of my jobs were a weekend thing. I missed out on a lot of stuff, and that sucked. I'd be shooting someone's wedding when my friends were having like a 21st birthday party, or someone's having a baby shower, you know what I mean? I mean, I missed out on quite a bit. The busier I got, the more I missed out because everyone does stuff on the weekends except Cody. Cody's photographing a wedding and doing engagement shoots, or Cody can't come on this weekend trip because he has one shoot on a Saturday that he can't get out of. So I missed out on a lot. I didn't make myself available to others. Half the time it feels like because I was busy with work, and the other half is because I would rather sleep because I just was fighting depression. I was doing the best I could to just live and breathe. Had a lot of anger between those years too. This all stems from a bigger truth that I will for sure be sharing another time. But trying to run a business with depression was not easy. To this day, I can confidently say I never missed a day of work, basically. I missed a couple shoots that I just rescheduled because I was sick or something. But like, I've never missed a day of work in 10 years. I can easily say that. Never missed a wedding, never missed a quinceañera, never missed a big event or anything. Just never. I've been present for 10 years. Perfect attendance. So proud of that. I always found a way. Due to that depression, it gave me a lot of anxiety, and due to that anxiety and doing high stress level work, I was extremely anxious all the time. And I always felt myself cycling in this constant loop of guilt, fear, depression, and then back to, I don't know, just like this constant loop I could never get out of. And I felt time slipping away by sleeping a lot of my early 20s away due to depression. But I persevered. But my point is, anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety. Some of these jobs were very stressful. Some of the weddings were very stressful. It's some people could say that, being a wedding photographer is a high stress job sometimes, because you get one chance, one opportunity, and your whole contract is on the line because you have to get that kiss. You have to get those moments, and, you can't be absent from that. So you got to be quick on your feet. You got to learn to adapt. You got to have great situational awareness, common sense. I'd like to think that growing up, I was taught a lot of that stuff. So I enjoy stressful situations. I guess I've learned to kind of love them in a way. I do. I enjoy the thrill. That's probably why I like riding motorcycles, and I like doing crazy hikes and camping in the middle of nowhere completely by myself. I kind of like the stressful situations and learning to navigate through them. However, the stress got to me a lot of the times, and some of my teammates, some of my employees, my helpers back in the day, got the end of that. High stress when I have weddings every weekend, and editing has to get done, and meetings it was just a lot going on. It was a lot going on, and it was a lot of hats I needed to wear. It was a lot of weight on my shoulders, a lot of expectations and responsibility. All this while I loved getting 12 hours of sleep because that was the only way I felt good. But it never felt good because I would wake up and realize, well, there's half the day gone. Now it wasn't like that every day, but for sure once or twice a week it was like that. But I masked it well. I put up a good persona that, cool Cody. Everything's fun. Everything's funny. Everything's a good time, Mr. Comedian. I was like that in high school too, but high school was darker days in their own way. And I was stressed out. So certain jobs, I would just come off as like just frazzled, just upset all the time. And there's so much more to that and all that, but some of my team members got it, some of them didn't. Feels like I lost a beautiful friendship out of one of those. Just not being okay. Sorry. Okay, I guess that thing's running. Yeah, just not being okay. And I was stressed all the time. I was just a different person. I was like 23, 24. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I kind of knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. Feels like half the time. But I figure it out, and I find a way. But anywho, so there was good team building, though. People that worked for me, I'm still friends with today. It's a beautiful feeling to know that I've created friendships out of employment, I guess. And I cherish the friendships more than I cherish the help on some of those, for sure. But I think I need to fix that other camera because now the other one's not running. Stand by. My hair looks good and all that. That's going to be real embarrassing. All right. I'm going to figure out this camera thing by the next episode. It's a little trial run here. So, I wasn't in a good place, and I wasn't living in the best space. either. It's easy to say I wasn't in a healthy space living where I was up until about 24, 25. Living at my grandma's just wasn't a good place for me. I was outgrowing it clearly, and I needed to move on. So around 25, mid 25, I ended up moving out, moving to Glendora with my ex-girlfriend. At the time, lived with her and her family. And that's where the clouds started to kind of clear with my depression. Clearly getting out of an unhealthy space and stepping into a blank canvas of potential and emotions and all that. It was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life, clearly, especially where I'm at now. I'm doing all right. But I was living with her for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. Definitely overstayed my welcome there, and I felt it over time. But when I was living there in Glendora, that was my chance to kind of retreat from everything that was holding me back, everything that was feeding my depression. I learned to journal. I learned to meditate. I learned to have a more introspective perspective. That's probably the same word. I learned to just look inside, do shadow work, and face my demons for the first time, really, now that I've stepped out of the fight, new perspective. And started right around when COVID hit, I started just going all in on my mental health and reading and journaling, and was in a men's group, and it was amazing. And finally came out of it on top. It was a beautiful feeling. And that's when I noticed my business it went from a burnout stage when I was living in Baldwin Park at my grandma's to more of a healing stage. I know that 2018, about a year before I moved out, I had so many weddings. I was pushing the limits for a weak mental state that I had at the time, and a raging anxiety. I pushed it to the point of burnout. I don't know how many weddings I did that year, but I circled back to like 50, 70. That's just weddings. I had a lot of other events as well, and I just remember feeling burnout. That's around the time team members started falling off. I remember that. My favorite one in particular left the crew after years, and I felt everything sort of falling apart. It felt like this was it. It was a good 5-year run. It's pretty much halfway through, and was terrified because I was aimless. I was more aimless than I ever was before. And then I moved out and on my own 2 feet per se, and even more anxiety. And it was a shit show. Okay. It was a shit show. It's not a good one. It was a mess. And my ex at the time, I know she felt it. I know she saw it in me. But I didn't give up on myself. So that's right around time 2019, 2020, COVID hit, and it's a perfect time for me to take a break. I mean, I was still doing backyard weddings, but I didn't give up on myself. I didn't give up on the business. I did jobs every month. I never took time off during COVID. I was doing backyard weddings and photo shoots and all that, and business didn't take that much of a hit, but I had more time on my hands. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but I had a big contract 2019, 2020 as well, which paid the bills really well. Very thankful for that one. But anywho, right around that time, I started working myself. I realized about a year later, year and a half, 2 years later is when it really started to blossom. And in 2021, literally a year and a half after like starting this whole mental health movement that I was pioneering, I found a opportunity to move out from my ex's place and get my own space, live alone. And I pulled the trigger. I was terrified. All the confidence building I was working up for the last year and a half, it was put to the test. I'm going to be on my own for the first time in my life at the age of 27, 28, like just living alone. And as someone that would do camping trips during this mental health movement that were 10 days alone by myself, I figured I could do it. I figured I was capable. But it still terrified me. Ended the relationship healthily, on good terms. Wasn't a nasty breakup. It just didn't work out, and that's life. So I moved on and decided to just live on my own. And as of tonight, funny enough, another anniversary in a few hours will be 2 years of living on my own tomorrow. So that's cool too. And I'll tell you right now, the guy that walked through these doors 2 years ago, he was doing all right. He was doing all right. A lot of growth between that day and this day. 2 years of living on your own. If it's something you're considering doing and you have the funds and you have the strategy and the plan, execute it. I had the opportunity to do it years before, but I didn't. Everyone's got their own right time, right? And it was the right time for me 2 years to do it. Maybe not a couple years before that. Who knows what the outcome could have been, but I know the outcome I'm in now, and that's the path I'm on. And I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. I'm happy. I'm happy for sure. So the last couple of years of living my own took my business from the burnout to the healing stage to this skyrocket new fire passion in the last couple of years. And it's just been like just living on my own. That has to be so much of it, of being able to have my own space and have my own thoughts and live life my own way to where it all fits right for me. And Squyres Productions boomed in the last 2 years for sure. But with that came the same struggle I had before. And that's just been warning signs of burnout again. And that's not going to happen, first of all. It's not happening because I've dealt with it before, and it's not a good feeling. And I have to learn from my mistakes somehow. So I won't allow it to happen again. However, I've noticed with the workload that I've received over the last couple of years, just increasing to the point where it's the vision for the next 10 years. And that's expansion. It's humbly saying, I need help. I can't do this alone anymore. I have to delegate. I have to give the opportunity to team members to have more responsibility and take more initiative into help run Squyres Productions. I have a team now. It's like 3 or 4. But I'm looking to grow it. So I'm unhappy with turnaround times that I've had. If you're a client and I give you your work late, you know what I'm talking about. I did my best. Turned in every project. I don't think I ever got the feedback that my work was not what they expected. If it wasn't, just know that if you're hearing this and it wasn't, you can tell me. You can tell me, and I will take it. And I'll learn from it, and I'll do better. Simply enough. But I haven't got that feedback. I don't know why. I don't think it's 100% true because I'm sure I haven't met everyone's expectations, but my flaws have just been communication and turnaround time, and that's horrible. And that's just because in a day I'll get 17, 21, 25 text messages, all asking different questions that lead to these different conversations that I'm in the middle of one conversation. Here comes 2 more text messages asking for their and it's just like, it's overwhelming. And then I'm working, and then I'm editing, and like I felt like I was constantly do, and relationships with clients were taking a hit because I wasn't responding quick enough, or because I didn't get the work done quick enough. It wasn't the case for everybody. It's not like every job was horrible. I mean, I have plenty of good jobs that I communicated, did the work on time, did a beautiful job. Amazing experience all around. But again, there's some that didn't get their photos on time or when I said I'd give it to them. And if that's one of you, then just know that it was not personal. I just, too much on my plate, trying to carry the world, trying to do it all myself and not delegating enough. And that's my vision for the next 10 years, is to not allow that to happen anymore, because it bothers the hell out of me. I have nightmares, legitimate nightmares and anxiety about disappointing clients. And it reminds me of these old patterns I had when I was depressed, of just guilt, anxiety. Just, I don't want to live like that again. So this is my body, my soul, my mind telling me, whoa, guy, we've done this before. Didn't have the best outcome. So let's not do that again. So expansion is where my vision is now, currently moving forward, to grow the team, to have someone that can respond to text messages, someone that can answer calls. One thing I've been texting my clients is, hey, just call me. Most of the time I can answer, and it's just so much faster to just do a phone call. So if you're hearing this now and you're potential, or you're a current, or you're going to be a repeat client, just call me. I'd rather speak to you too. I'd rather hear your voice, whoever you are, rather than just some emotionless, soulless text message sometimes. I love phone calls over text messages. But just call me. If you have to text me, you can text me. It's nothing in the world. I get to you. But yeah, that's something that it's been a problem, and I'm addressing it, and I'm sick of it, and it's not going to happen anymore. I won't allow it to happen anymore. I won't. It's been like my biggest flaw in the last 10 years, and I hate it. So, aside from beautiful work that will improve in its own way, everything else will improve, because there's a new standard that's being set for Squyres Productions, and I will reach it. It's happening right now. Starting tonight, starting now. So I'm going to expand the team. I have a lot of plans, so much to share. I'm a type of guy that loves to kind of journal, write lists, write stuff out. And I have a lot of plans written down. Another one of my little flaws is has been a flaw. I won't allow it to be a flaw anymore. Is I can come up with the most creative, amazing ideas, but execution is just not there. It's like a 10% chance I'm going to execute a brilliant idea. And I'm chock full of brilliant ideas. I've heard it from friends. I've heard it from partners, significant others. I've heard it where they tell me, wow, that's a great idea. I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea. And I'm all gung-ho about it. And the next week, it's just like on to the next thing. And it's kind of forgotten. But it's written down. Everything's written down. I have it all logged. I have ideas. So I'm executing ideas now. This is an example of one of them. I'm executing this podcast I've been talking about for I don't know how long. But here we are talking about it. I kind of love it. I love this. I love just being me. It kind of terrifies me that people are going to see this and they're like, wow. So that's how he really is, or whatever. I don't know. This is how I really am. I'm a very deep emotional person. Okay. I'll pause. so I can make sure that other camera's recording. But I'm going to get right back on the deep emotional part, and we'll close this up. Battery. Okay, this all works this time. All right. I hope my hair doesn't look like crap. All right, sorry. As I was. Emotions. Yeah, so I'm just kind of I'm an emotional dude, okay? I said it. I'm an artist. When I take your family portraits and when I take your wedding portraits and I take your newborn portraits or a baby's first breath, I get into the pictures. I get into the moment. I've been called out by some clients in a good way about it. They recognize it, but I'm an emotional guy. I lead with my heart. My closer friends, I'm sure, kind of see that. I'm a deep thinker. I like to be in deep thought. Love to meditate. Love to journal. Love to go on walks. I guess I'm saying this because I want people to know that they don't have to have a surface level conversation with me. That goes for clients. That goes for friends. You can get deep with me. I'll share my whole life story. I have no problem sharing. I've shared it with a lot of people. Maybe that scares some people, but hey, it's my story to tell, and I got no problem telling it. I've made mistakes. Plenty. Too many, probably. But I'm a flawed, beautiful human being. So I'm just saying that I'm available to talk if anyone ever wants to talk. But touching on the emotion with the photography, I've captured hundreds of weddings. I've captured hundreds of quinceañeras. I've captured hundreds of parties, hundreds of family portraits, thousands of moments, and hundreds of thousands of photos in the last 10 years. And I got to say, I love it. I love it. I love capturing family portraits. I love capturing a wedding. I love capturing a moment that's raw and real. I like documenting deeper connections between two people, between a family. I just love what I do. And I think I'm ready to take it to the next level with the next 10 years and use the last 10 years as a learning experience. And it was a learning experience to get to where I'm at now. I've lost friendships. I've made mistakes. I've lost clients. I've let people down. I've lost important clients. That meant a lot to me because I was too blind or stupid to see that I was not being responsible enough to have them as a client. I'm hard on myself a lot of the times. I'm a perfectionist. If it's not perfect, it's not right. I've learned that that's not truth more over the last couple of years, but I've lived a lot of my life with this perfection mindset that it's got to be perfect, it's got to be right. And that's just not the case. Because we all know perfect's impossible. So, I could be really hard on myself with the business, with decisions, and I can get choked up on making a decision or whatever based on that anxiety and all that. But yeah, my point is I've made mistakes with the business. I've made my fair share of mistakes, and I'm sorry for those that I've hurt. For sure. I am. I know I could have done better, and just know that the only good that can come out of maybe a bad experience with you will be applied in the future now to learn from. That might sound dark, but I did good. I'm doing good. There's obviously growth. It wasn't like everything was all bad all the time. There I am just highlighting all the bad. The good, how about the good? The good is all the moments I've captured. The good is when a client sends me their printed picture on the wall or put on a collage of a blanket. Man, that really makes me proud of myself when I see someone else's story, someone else's life that I don't even know, that I just stepped into for a brief moment, found a way to capture it in a way that tells it for what it really is. I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling, but I just love all the moments I've captured and captured well. I've regrown friendships out of the business, old friends that hired me for their wedding or hired me for an event that I haven't talked to in so long, and now we talk more often now, one on a more regular basis. Friendships that were healed because of my business. More beautifully, friendships that were created out of my business. One in particular, I'll say it now, his name's Marcus. To me, he feels like just like a brother. I love that guy. He makes me a better person for sure. He'll be a guest soon too. But that came out of the business. Didn't know the guy. Captured his engagement portraits, El Matador Beach, funny enough, where the magic happens. And did his wedding. And then after that wedding, we kind of stayed in touch. And now we meet on a weekly basis. And he's bettering me, and I'm like to think I'm bettering him however I can. And so much more to touch on that. But like I said, beautiful friendships have grown out of it. Even relationships. My current girlfriend was a bridesmaid at a wedding. We've been together now for 2 years. So that's something beautiful. In a weird way of steps, my business led me to where I live now too. The landlord is, in a weird way, a connection of Squyres Productions. So a lot of good has come out of the business. I have a horrible way of saying, well, it could have been better, and it could have been this, and it could have been that, and 10 years, you should have more followers, you should have more business, you should own a house. There's so many conversations I've had in my own head about it, because I love to treat myself horribly sometimes. But I know at the end of the day, I still have my business. There was a statistic Marcus mentioned. I'm going to butcher it. Something about businesses, only a certain, like less than 10% of businesses are successful for 10 years or whatever. Most of them fail after a couple of years. But 10 years is a feat. I think there's only like less than 10% of businesses make it that far. Something like that. But I've made it this far. And everything I have, from this desk to this microphone to the cameras I use for my weddings, to the roof over my head, is because of Squyres Productions. It's because of my clients. It's because of my friends. It's because of the family that supported me. It's because of all of you that believed in a passion that I had, a dream that I had, to make it what it is today, and to not let go and to not give up, and to overcome the depression and persevere and get to where I'm at now. And I'm just so much gratitude for this high I'm on in my life right now. A lot of gratitude. Genuine, pure gratitude. I try to put that in a post or a story when I say I'm grateful for my clients, but I can never really get the message across that they don't realize how grateful I am. That when they hire me again for a second shoot, when Family Portraits hire me for second family portraits or a wedding hires me for family portraits, when there's follow-up business, I may not show it, and I will start showing it now, and I may not make it clear enough, but man, that's like the coolest feeling. So I'm just so grateful for everything I have, everything that Squyres Productions has given me. It's almost like an entity in itself. Maybe that's just my deeper emotional side, making it bigger than what it is, but that's just how I feel right now in this moment. So I've kind of talked about the next 10 years, not in very detail, but just I want to expand it. Talked about my gratitude. I'm going to touch deeper on that in following episodes for sure, but Squyres Productions has given me so much. And there's this part of me that feels I haven't given it enough. And that's where my mindset is for the next 10 years, is to give it everything, because it's given me everything. And it is just a mere reflection of, I guess, my self-confidence. So I'm believing in myself more than I've ever believed in myself, ever. And yeah. So this podcast, I intend on doing this way more often. I love this space to be able to just be me. I hope it opens up doors. I hope it opens up opportunities for deeper relationships and friendships with the people I already have. And I'm excited. I'm excited to go into the new year with a new energy. I'm excited to go into quarter number 2, because you best better believe I'm doing Squyres Productions for 40 years. That was not my vision when I started, but as this 10 year was getting closer, I realized this is just quarter 1. This is just quarter 1. Now we're approaching quarter 2, and I'm fired up. I'm fired up because I didn't really like where I was quarter 1. We did all right. We did good. We made it work, but we can do so much better, and we are ready to do better. So take this as a promise that Squyres Productions is going to do better, and I'm going to give it 100%. No more, no less. So thank you to everyone who supported me this far with it. Stay tuned with this podcast. I intend on doing more of them, and I have my first 5 guests lined up. Very excited to see what that's like, interviewing a guest. After doing this alone, I'm like, if I could do it alone, I could do it with someone. And actually, it just sounds super exciting. So sort of the chaos of a conversation of, I can guide it as much as I can, but I kind of don't want to guide or script any of it. I just kind of want it to just be. I want my guests to walk in and we just talk. We just let the conversation flow. So stay tuned for that. There's so much more I want to talk about. I'm realizing now that this platform is going to be a place where I like to talk. I feel so much better than I did an hour ago when I started this thing. It's empowering. I love it. So stay tuned for more. For those I remember, I did the vlog back in the day in 2017. Just put on the mask of happiness while in a depression and pre-burnout. Like, this is just the most healthy, upgraded version of that. And I'm so excited for you to be a part of it if you've lasted this long in the podcast. So if you want to reach out for any advice, feedback, whatever, this is a brand new thing. It's going to have a little bit of a rough start, but I am confident, I'm excited, I'm motivated to guide this ship in the right direction. And by ship, I don't mean boat, I mean spaceship. I want this thing to go across the universe. That's cheesy. I just really want this thing to work, and I feel good about it. This was fun. This is therapeutic. I love this, and I want to keep saying it, but I'll be going in circles if I do. So if you're a fan of this, smash that like button, hit subscribe. I'd love to keep sharing more of me, diving deeper, going deeper into my whole life, where I've been, where I am, where I'm headed, as much as I'd like to know where I'm headed. But I'd like you guys to be a part of the journey, this vulnerability journey, this vulnerable journey, vulnerable adventure. I don't have a podcast name yet, and I've been trying to come up with a name for 6 months. Let that sink in. But I'll come up with the name pretty soon. So if you have any advice on that, or you want to throw a name suggestion, send it my way. So that's it. I guess I'll close out here. I hit the 1 hour mark. 64-minute mark. Whoa. I mean, it's probably like an hour with the few cuts that I had, but this is me. This is me signing off. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it sounds good. I hope it looks good. I just hope it went well. It ain't going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. But it is beautiful. We're going to do some good things here. So I have a little quote that I'm going to end off with, something that I came up with about a month ago in a meeting with my friend Marcus. And as of right now, I'm going to use it as my little outro as I slowly build up this podcast and whatever this thing is going to be. But it's very simple. I don't even need to read it. It's to have grace for the lows, gratitude for the highs, and patience for everything in between. That's been my motto for the last month, and it's been pretty great. So, with that being said, signing off. Congratulations, Squyres Productions, you made it. So, that's that. Good stuff. I don't know how to end these things, but I ended it pretty well. All right. Till next time.